Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of The Good, The Bad, and The Boring. This is a series on my channel where we basically window shop all the new things coming out in the beauty realm. I'm gonna try and do these weekly because I'm trying to pump out more videos this month just to try and get myself like in a routine. Really, there's just a lot of stuff coming out, and I feel like every time I post one of these GBB videos, there's something else huge that I want to talk about, and when there's a week in between, I end up forgetting about stuff. So this week there's quite a few things that I definitely want to talk about because they for sure sparked my interest. So let's get into it. Okay, the main thing that I wanted to talk about, the real reason I wanted to do this video was because I saw that Trixie Mattel is coming out with her own cosmetics line called Trixie Cosmetics. As of me posting this video, we don't know what this collection is going to include, or cosmetics line really. It's not a collection, it's a cosmetics line. We don't know what it's going to include. This video is going up on Thursday. Tomorrow is when they're announcing what's going to be in it. So next week we'll talk about what's actually in it. But if I am going to do predictions, honestly, I know that Trixie uses a lot of sugar pill. I know she uses Taco, which is the white shade, pretty much goes through one a week, just looking at, how much of that white she has when for her signature look for her face. I could definitely see this basically being just wholesale sugar pill, just sugar pill that is branded as Trixie Cosmetics. Now, of course, I'm not saying that's what it is, but when I think of Trixie Mattel and I think of her makeup, I think of sugar pill and their bright colors. They have such an amazing white matte eyeshadow that you don't see very often. You really don't see good matte white eyeshadows. They have an amazing black eyeshadow. And Trixie Mattel's makeup as of more recent is definitely a lot of the colors that are in her Trixie palette that she did with Sugar Pill last year. Maybe it'll be lip colors because Trixie really does a lot of bright, like a baby pink shade. But for the most part, the majority of the stuff that she posts, it really seems to be just a lot more of a brown kind of color we got going on here. That's my conspiracy. I'm sure it's not true. I'm not starting anything. I just know that she loves Sugar Pill. Sugar Pill kind of has a lockdown on these matte colors and stuff. And I know when Trixie created her collection for Sugar Pill, she was thinking of the more everyday woman who would want to buy these colors, who would use them every day. So I'm really curious to see if Trixie Cosmetics is meant for the average consumer who likes to wear makeup, or if it's going to be catered more towards drag queens. It'll be interesting to see what direction she takes it. If it's going to have more of like a 70s vibe, which I always feel like Trixie has, if it's going to be more themed around like a doll. I'm just really interested to see where it goes. Okay, the next thing that I'm dying to talk about is this new collection that's coming out from Fenty. So I really haven't been paying attention to Fenty for a while just because of the direction that they were going, and the collections that they were coming out with were things that didn't interest me personally. I'm not shading that in any way. It just wasn't up my alley, so I haven't really been paying attention. But this new collection looks, oh my gosh, Riri, you got my attention, that is for sure. Okay, so first and foremost, we see this picture of Rihanna, and she's wearing this eyeliner that is blowing my mind apart, okay? So this is basically this light, kind of like a pastel-y but bright pink, and then we have this soft creamy sky blue, and then this green that's like this pastel grassy green, and just the way that it's done on her eyes is so cool. And it's really effective because she's wearing these bright colors, but it's not overwhelming. It's not all over the place. It's not like my eye makeup I have on right now where it's really in your face. It's much more subtle, but it's very, very effective. And it just looks so cool. And these are colors that I don't know about you guys, but I do not have any eyeliners, especially liquid eyeliners, in shades like this. And just the way that this is done immediately hooked me in. The other thing that I think is really interesting is that these are Eyeliner Trio Sets. So it comes in a set of 3, and there's 3 different sets. There is Bayside, Baykay, and Baywatch sets. The one that's really grabbed my attention is the one that Rihanna is wearing in that picture, which looks to be the Bayside collection. So the top one here is the one that really has me like, okay, I can get on that. I can get on board. But honestly, all of them look super, super cool. I also really like that Baywatch one, that blue. I mean, teal, anything teal calls my name, so that one is really cool. But really, the Bayside set is the one that is grabbing my attention just because those are really unique shades. It kind of reminds me of the Creme de Couture collection from Sigma, which was a lot of those pastel neons, which is something that just you don't see very often. And when you do, it's really cool. I'm not gonna lie though, that Bay set also, I'm looking at it. I see you. Oh, man, those just look so cool. It makes me think of like a fox, like a dog, when it's just like, that's like what I did when I saw this. I was like, I'm listening. And I'm always about anything that looks more unique. So these absolutely have my attention. Love the fact that it's bright, but still kind of soft. So we're here for this. And the sets are $35, which I will say I think is a decent price for 3 liners. I mean, a lot of the times you see liners for $20 a piece. So to get 3 for $35, that is a decent price. The next thing I want to talk about is something that was announced recently from ColourPop, and that is their new marbled Super Shock shadows, which they are calling what are they calling them? Super Shock Extreme Kit. So these are basically their Super Shock shadows, and they have veining in them, a mixture of this glittery bright goodness, and it comes as a kit. So it's a kit of 6 colors, and these are really cool looking. They remind me of MAC mineralized eyeshadows when they would have those collections that looked like planets, just because they have all of these different swirls and just prettiness. And these are always something that I think looks so cool in the packaging. They look really cool to look at, but then when you get them, it all kind of blends together anyways, just like a normal eyeshadow would, and most people are not going to take the time to go through and get each different color. I'd get this idea in my head, it was going to almost be like a stamp on my eye. So because it looked so beautiful and so veiny and awesome. Okay, so yes, it has like veins of these colors, but every time I say that, I'm just picturing like gross blood veins. You think that it's gonna end up looking the same way on your eyes, like a stamp, and it does not. Obviously, if you wanted to recreate that, you totally can if you have the patience and the skills. I do not. And so those ones I'm always like, oh, I'm tempted, but will I use them? Probably not. And it sucks because I really would like to, because they look super cool. I'm not gonna lie, they look super, super cool. On a different note, I saw that Love Lux Beauty posted this really quick teaser of a new palette that they have coming out. There's nothing they've come out with that I've been like, man, this is okay. Their eyeshadow palettes are stellar. So seeing this, I'm like, ooh, what is that? And I see a lot of bright peaches and pinks and like a poppy red. And then of course there's that blue, which I will say, okay, so I've given shit to like Too Faced, for example, or these different companies that do blue as almost like a cop-out color. So it'll be a completely neutral palette, and then you see this pop of blue and it makes your brain think, look at that, that's a fun color. But then when you take away that one shade, everything looks kind of boring. I'm gonna say that Love Lux gets a pass with that here, because the shades that you see in this quick peekaboo are not boring colors at all. They're very vibrant and bright, and they're all warm tones. I love pairing like a good poppy red, poppy orangey red with a blue color, because they contrast, so it makes each color really look even more amazing. And so that blue actually does make sense here. It's not the neutral with a pop of blue. It is bright, awesome reds with a pop of blue, reds and oranges, which is great in my book. And again, their stuff's so amazing that I'm on board for literally anything that they come out with. Something else I wanted to touch on was the new collection on Sephora from a brand that I'm gonna look up how to pronounce, because I am not trendy. I don't know how to say any words, and I don't want to get shit for it. So we're gonna look it up.
Moschino.
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 Moschino. That's how I thought you said it, but my brain likes to do this thing. I'll pronounce it in my head, and I really have to work through pronouncing it the right way. Like acai took a really long time to say acai and not acai. So Moschino, I would pronounce it Moschino. So surprise to nobody. They have a collection that has come out that is themed around back to school is really what it looks like. The collection includes things like a laptop-shaped eyeshadow palette, which I actually kind of think is cool in the sense that it has like the different sizes for each of the keys. So it has like an enter key, backspace, a space bar. So they're different shapes so that the eyeshadows actually look like a keyboard. I do think that's kind of clever. We have pencil-shaped brushes where the actual brush part looks like an eraser. Highlighters that look like literal highlighters. Other highlighter, I believe, are marker-shaped lip glosses, and then nail polish that looks like whiteout. That's silly. This collection's actually been getting some controversy around it, some drama, because people are upset that Moschino took the idea from the box of crayons collection that came out, where it was an eyeshadow palette that was themed around a box of crayons. I can understand that idea, and I would be on board a little bit more with it if Moschino wasn't so famous for doing ideas that were taking ordinary objects and making them fashion. I mean, they have a perfume that's shaped like Windex. That kind of is their thing, of taking ordinary objects and making it into something that it's not. So I can understand to an extent where people kind of think that, but I mean, the same thing with the box of crayons company clearly was inspired by Crayola. So it's just, sometimes I feel like the finger pointing gets a little bit too out of hand. I don't know, I guess I just think that inspiration can come from a lot of different areas, and it's not always as simple as like, let's completely take their idea and completely rip it off. I just don't think it's that simple. Maybe it is, maybe I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt when they don't deserve it, but it's sort of like the Huda Beauty and Beauty Bakery situation all over again, where it's like maybe they did copy it, maybe they didn't, but the best thing to do is what Beauty Bakery did, where they just said, you know what, there's room for everybody. Everyone's allowed in the kitchen, and they kind of really made themselves seem commendable the way that they handled it. And that's just the way I guess I see it, is that everyone finds inspiration from different things. And yeah, I don't know, that's my thoughts. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to touch base on in this video. I feel like those are the main things that really caught my attention. I did see that Too Faced has some new lip glosses out. I don't even want to talk about Too Faced anymore because I can just mention them. They've always got something coming out, and it's always not even remotely making me excited, which sucks. I wish that it did, but they have some new lip products out that just made me want to fall asleep forever. Ooh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Okay, so this is a brand that I have not talked about in a really long time. It is Visart. So Visart, I actually found out about from Makeup by Tiffany D, and she talked about how amazing their neutrals palette was, and I ended up buying quite a lot of their eyeshadow palettes. They're actually put away in my, like, not my close by Alex drawers from Ikea, so I don't touch them very much, and I actually have a kind of like a bitter feeling towards them, actually. I spent way too much money last year, at the end of last year, on this pro palette they came out with. Then like 2 months later, they put it on sale for a lot of money off. So I kind of was just annoyed, and I don't really love the palette like I thought I would, so I just am bitter. It's not fair at all. I know, like, it's my own damn fault that I feel this way. I know, but whatever. So this looks like they are coming out with single eyeshadows, which I do think is really cool because they definitely have some amazing mattes. They do have really nice eyeshadows for sure, and so to be able to get them individually is actually really neat. 50 shades, 7 finishes, launching on the 5th. Okay, so I do think that that's kind of neat because, like I said, they have some really cool stuff. The palette that I got was the Visart Grande Pro Volume 2, and it's $175. This is why I've been doing low buy this year as far as makeup goes and stuff, is because I talked myself into it. I told myself that I like 100% needed it, that it was going to change my life, and I think, is it behind me? Oh my god. Okay, so I've been doing personal training this last month, and I did leg day yesterday, and I'm old lady status today. Whew. Yeah, so here it is. I literally can't believe I spent that much money on it. I'm gonna show you really close because you can see the majority of these colors literally still have the lines across them because they've never even been friggin' touched. Or they've been touched like one time to swatch them. I think what did it was because I saw they were talking about some of it was like a new formula and I was like, new formula? But nothing in this really blew me away. And it's such a bummer because it was ridiculously expensive. Don't be like me. Don't spend $175 on a palette. Ever. Please. Don't do it. Anyways, that's all for this week's Good, the Bad, and the Boring. As always, please tag me on Instagram or on Twitter, anything you want me to talk about for next week. I really love when I get your input, and I think that's all we get to talk about today, so see you next time.